Hi, I'm Ranjini Nambiar with the superwoman of the travel industry, with the dope. Today, we have a very interesting personality out of Mumbai, Miss Kanan Potedar. She is the CEO of Travel and Living. Miss Kanan Potedar is an entrepreneur who incepted her first office out of her home 20 years ago. What started off as merely as an escape from her daily routine of homemaking and raising children has now evolved into a boutique luxury travel company called Travel and Living. She is armed with an executive MBA from the IIM Bangalore and has traveled to over 70 countries. Miss Potedar is one of top 2% of women travel agents selected from India to organize trips for the YPO and the WPOs, along with other prestigious institutions like the Rotary and the IMC. I mean, the introduction, I can just go on. Being a recognized IATA agent, LHW and Relay and Chateau preferred partner of the luxury cruise liners and luxury lodges of New Zealand and Australia, and a certified specialist for tourism boards like New Zealand, Iceland, Australia, and South Africa. She has trusted relationships with hoteliers and DMCs across the globe. So I am really happy to have her on my show, and I'm sure she's nothing short of a superwoman in the travel industry. Welcome to our show, Ms. Kanan.
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on this show. I'm happy to tell you my journey so far. It's been very interesting. I started from home, as you already mentioned, and then went on to with air bookings, and then realized the potential for the hotels and packages, which is far more interesting, and kind of giving people a better experience was my idea of travel. So that kind of led to curating packages and carved myself a niche. So all this subsequently happened while I was working. I was also learning. So I did my MDS. I studied MBA while I was working, and then decided to branch myself into a curated travel agent. And we rebranded from Sunrise Travels to Travel and Living sometime in 2012, when my daughter decided to join me for her internship. And she put in a lot of effort. So we started marketing across the globe, and that's where we got the mileage and the recognition that we were looking for. And we then further went on one more step of creating luxury tours. We were one of the first ones to have a fixed departure luxury tours to unexplored destination. And we started with Iceland and the Northern Lights, and then went on with Finland, Norway, and most of the unexplored destinations like South America, and which were not so prominent. I'm talking about almost 7 to 8 years back. And we used to have like 3 fixed departure tours in a year, where they were completely luxury and catering to only 20, 25 high net worth individuals, only 5-star and end to end. So this is basically my journey so far, and happy to be in this place.
I'm so happy to know about your past journey. And so this was your entrepreneurial venture. And so you've really learned from scratch, right from the beginning, learning out of experience. So it's been 20 years, right? I understand. It's been 20 years since you've started this organization. I'm so proud to know about your achievements so far. So you and IATA as well, you have a ticketing division as well. You have a ticketing division.
Which I realized very early. in my
Yes.
business that IATA is important if you really want to work with the corporates and the different organizations, because they look for accreditations. What happens in India is we do not have a license for a travel agent. So, yeah, so some sort of accreditation was required. Of course, being a member of a association like TAFI, TAI, and this, but that really is like your own personal choice whether you want to be a member of TAFI, TAI, SCOL, or any other organization. But I realized that I needed a kind of accreditation which would anyone would be able to recognize. So that's when I did my IATA. And then I decided to just continue with my curated itineraries.
Brilliant. Now, do you recognize a change in the travel and tourism industry in terms of gender dynamics? And what do you think might be the contributing factors?
So I would really think that women are a silver lining on this, on a very dark cloud, where women being in this industry, they're very, very prominent. Okay, so and presence of them in the industry is far more, if I'm not wrong, than men. But especially in my organization is completely dominated by women employees. So
Okay.
I have seen this in many organizations, and not just this. So I think women have a knack for hospitality. That's what I understand.
Sure. Sustainability in tourism. I think this is the most widely spoken about term currently. Do you think encouraging sustainable practices in the tourism industry is very important? I mean, I would ask you from an individual perspective and from a business perspective.
No, in fact, I think to my clients, we highlight all these features which the hotels or the lodges offer. I think this is what we try and highlight. And luckily, my clients are very evolved travelers. So they are also themselves looking into, they come up with these questions that is this an eco-friendly place? Is there any harvesting of water done here? Is this like a farm to table concept, and stuff like that? So they are really happy to kind of have this kind of holiday.
Mm-hmm.
We really do promote this kind of holiday because it's something completely different from your run-of-the-mill resorts. Resort holiday of having swimming pool and your have 5 meals a day and there's buffet meals, and so that's not what we are really wanting to promote also, and my clients don't even opt for it.
Coming to the current situation in the travel and tourism industry, the extended effect of the coronavirus, how has it affected you, and what are the changes you have made as a person, and as far as your industry is concerned, as far as your organization is concerned, how have you stayed relevant?
Basically, since I've never been a hardcore, I've never done hardcore sales.
Sure.
I just kept it very subtle with my clients, where I definitely care about their well-being, because what used to happen was that whenever earlier on, I don't remember in the past 18 years that I've got a breather and I'm not really talked to my clients. They've been more friends and extended friends. So there's always been phone calls all the time. And now, since there is a lull in that, I just kind of want to know their well-being. So definitely I do ask their well-being and everything, and which is just out of concern. I'm not here. I completely understand this is the time to stay safe, and this is not the time to venture out, because one year in a lifetime is going nowhere. This is the way I see it. And if you have your health, you're going to be better off much better later. Yes, I completely understand the hospitality industry has really, really suffered. I wish that people would start buying some vouchers of airlines and hotels, as they have started promoting these vouchers, so for them to sustain and take out this bad time, the low time rather, that because they are struggling with the finances. So I think I would definitely like to put in my word to my clients that I think if you can support the industry and start doing this, you could use it at a future time, say 2 years from now, 3 years, and that way you are creating a balance between both the client and the industry. And secondly is, of course, we are all affected, but the only thing what I have continued doing is working on refunds all the time with my counterparts, because right now there is work, but work is only refunds. And I'm doing that to my best of ability, so I'm able to give back to my clients whatever they have cancelled.
Okay. And I can imagine that this, as you rightly said about the refunds and encouraging people to buy the vouchers. Have you also encouraged people to travel domestically as well? Probably, what percentage of it for you is outbound, or do you do only outbound travel?
No, so percentage of outbound is like literally, I would say 85%.
80.
Yeah, and say 15% is inbound and people traveling domestic. So that's, yes, I do tell, but not as of now. To be very honest, I am not promoting anything right now because I personally feel that this is the time to stay safe. And another, let the government say that, yes, see, that's one of the reasons even government is not opening up the hotels for tourism. Yeah, absolutely. So we got to go with the guidelines and just go ahead with the flow.
Absolutely. And what are your key learnings or message for the future aspirants in the travel industry? You've had a long years of experience, so none better from some key learnings and something for the people, the youngsters who are coming into the industry.
I would tell the youngsters that work on your strengths. That way you'll be able to master your whatever skill you have, you'll be able to master it with much less effort. And at the same time, they will like what they're doing. So never to give up. And just learning from my experience, when nobody was doing Northern Lights tour in 2012-13, I had a vision to do it and I continued. So perseverance is another thing that you need to be sure of what you're doing and continue with that. Yeah, don't give up on your ideas. The niche ideas is what's going to take you ahead.
To be something different, you need to stand out in terms of your the way you give services to your clients, I'm sure. And what are the views for the future? I know nobody, at this particular point of time, everybody feels uncertainty at length. Nobody knows when the business is going to open up. But I would just say that I would just want to understand what's your take on this.
So I would think that probably next season, next June, next summer is something that we can probably start looking at going back to at least 70 to 80% of the travel that we used to have, which is, I think, quite positive thinking. And gradually, of course, begin sometime in Diwali, November and stuff like that, and take it up to 70 to 80% by next summer, which we should be able to achieve, and God willing, yeah.
All good. Let's all cross our fingers, and hopefully the world will be back on the feet again. And so, do you also have your daughter? I from your conversations, I understand. So, does your daughter also take part in? Is she still part of your organization?
Yes, very much. She is, in fact, one of the prominent person in my organization, because travel and living is something, it's her idea.
Sure.
Basically, because otherwise my company name is still Sunrise Travels.
Okay.
So my IATA is still Sunrise Travels. She is rebranded the concept, and she's completely pursuing with honeymooners, and so again, very different honeymoons. Also, we have started, like as I said, with work for IMC ladies and like Rotary and YPOs. We even went to explore Central Asia. Uzbekistan, and not, there are regular tours to Uzbekistan and stuff like that. But what we decided to do, luxury tours with end and complete with pre-ordered dinners with like 5-course meals in a place like Uzbekistan where there is probably a language barrier and stuff like that, with vegetarian meals. So these are some of the things that she kind of got me into, and she's fantastic on that. Yes.
Super. That's so lovely to note that you have a partner, your daughter as your partner, which is always a plus point in any which ways, to understand your, ideologies much better and to implement it. It's always good to have that. That's brilliant. And it is such a pleasure speaking to you. And are you also part of some organizations? Are you also part of SCOL? I understand.
I used to be, but I'm part of IIBA. So I was invited to be a member of Indo-Icelandic Business Association. So I'm part of IIBA as of now, not part of any other. I used to be part of TAFI as well. But,
okay.
Yeah, not as of now.
Okay. It was such a brilliant conversation with you. And thank you so much for spending time with us, Ms. Kannan. It's really nice of you to take your time off and have a conversation and share all your ideas with us. Any parting comments? And we'll wrap up this session.
Just continue with your passion of traveling. I would tell everyone, please travel. Travel is the only thing where you spend your money and you really get much more in return. So continue with your travel and about it. Yes.
Thank you. And for all of who you're watching, I'm sure you would have enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed having a conversation with Ms. Kannan. So if you like this video, do like, share, and subscribe as always, and keep watching The Dope. Thank you.